Our review of the first program of Season 2 of Babylon 5 is after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. This episode, called Points of Departure, shows a new beginning for Babylon 5. We're able to catch you up on the fact that Garibaldi is still in a coma, that there are still wondering what's happening to Delenn and G'Kar. These things are not solved in this particular episode, but we find that unexpectedly, Commander Sinclair was called to Earth, and we find that he was reassigned as the ambassador to Minbar. And a new commander comes to the station, Captain John Sheridan. He's someone who Ivanova has served with before, and he's a competent officer and likable fellow, and known as the Star Killer to the Minbari, especially the warring caste. As we pointed out before, the Minbari have the religious caste and the warring class, and they don't always see things on an even keel. Sheridan is known as a Star Killer, and they explain why. We have some background on just how busy Babylon 5 is. We see some new effects in this that show the station appears even bigger than it did in the first season. It's done well there. We find out that Garibaldi is agnostic. When Ivanova says to Dr. Franklin that she'll say a prayer for him, he mentions he's agnostic. She says, well, I'll only say half a prayer then. Anyway, we have Bruce Boxleitner taking over the job. We know in the real world that Michael O'Hare had left the show because of mental illness that he had. It was not shared with the staff or other actors at the time of that happening. It came out only after O'Hare's death, and that was a secret that was kept by J. Michael Straczynski. But anyway, he was taken off the show and replaced by Bruce Boxleitner by Captain Sheridan, who comes in and is in a fast learning curve about what's going on at Babylon 5, especially with the Minbari. We also have Robert Foxworth. He's seen in a number of TV movies in the United States and was most famous for being Chase Gioberti in Falcon Crest, kind of a primetime soap opera from back in the 80s. At any rate, he plays the general who gives news to Ivanova that Sheridan is coming, and some other details. We find out a little bit more that there was at least one ship of rogue Minbari who wanted to restart the war, but trying to force the Babylon 5 people to fire the first shot. And how that happens is a point of concern during the episode. But the big reveal is Lanier calling Sheridan and Ivanova to his quarters and explaining just what it was that Delenn wanted to tell Sinclair before he was called to Minbar. Now, it was by the Minbari's request that this be accelerated. So Sheridan was called to be the ambassador to Minbar because they wanted him for a special purpose, which will be revealed in later seasons. But we now are being told why exactly the Minbari stopped the war. It's because they had found, after interrogating and mind scanning and whatever with Sinclair, that they discovered that their souls went to Earth. Their religious beliefs are that when they die, their souls are moved into another generation. And while they couldn't account for all of those on Minbar, they weren't seeing the same kind of people that they expected. They find that those souls have gone to Earth and have become either wholly or in part of Earth people. And so that was the reason that the Grey Council ordered stopping the war right there, and that's when diplomatic relations began. Sinclair was the first human the Minbaris had ever directly seen. So with that, that gives a lot of explanation there. Lanier indicates in his own musings that he did not give the whole story, however, that the reason that he was giving this information at this time, and it was a secret even to Sinclair in the first season, was that it's going to take both the Minbari and the humans in order to fight the enemy that's to come. And we'll see that too later on. We've already seen little bits of it, these shadowy figures in the last episode of last season, and these almost invisible ships. This is going to become a big driving force in future episodes of Babylon 5. As it is, I like Bruce Boxleitner as the captain. At first, when I heard he was going to be there back in the day, I thought, well, he was Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and he was other kind of affable characters, and how do you have a commanding presence? It was the same problem that I had later with using Scott Bakula as captain on Enterprise. I thought he's too much of an aw shucks guy to be a authority figure, and as much as I liked Scott Bakula, I really didn't think that he did very well with Enterprise. Not his characterization just wasn't fitting for the actor, is my opinion. Nevertheless, I was afraid of this with Boxleitner as well, but he shows very soon that he is up for the job and becomes very much part of the cast of Babylon 5 very quickly. So that's what we have to start with. I think that, as always, it was well acted. We didn't see anything of any of our ambassadors, except, of course, for Lanier, and we're looking forward to seeing what all the reaction is as at the end of the episode the cocoon starts to crack that Ambassador Delenn is in. So it should be an interesting season, and we hope that you'll follow us with that. Meantime, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so. And always every time that you watch, we would appreciate a click of like, and make some comments below if there's anything that occurs to you about this that might not have occurred to me or to anyone else that might be worth sharing, or just your own opinions on it. We're always welcoming of that. So until next week, when we will be back with Deep Space Nine on Tuesday and Star Trek the Original Series on Wednesday, and yet another episode of Babylon 5 next week, don't go far.